I'm going to start with some common myths about organizing because I have said every single last one of these. And we have had a lot of other people down through the last 2 decades come in and say, Anne, you know what? Don't be a slob. You got to pick up stuff. And one of those, she wouldn't have said it like that, but my mother-in-law would have come in and said, Anne. And I had to really do a lot of work to overcome my natural, not very organized tendencies. And my husband has helped me a lot. But back in the early days, he wasn't around as much. So here are some of the myths that I believe, and maybe you do too, about organizing. First of all, I believe that you are just born with good organizing skills. That some people they just got it, and other people like me, we just don't. But that's not true. One of the things that I've had to learn is that this is a skill, and as a skill, you can read books about it, you can watch YouTubes about it, you can watch HGTV, you can learn a lot just by increasing your knowledge. And sometimes it takes a long time to learn to stick because you have to practice it, but that's why it's a skill, like learning to play the piano or any other skill. I suppose if our kids, were really good at this from the time they were little, that it would be better for them. So this is kind of something I want to think about for them. But I was not born with this skill, and I've had to learn it. And you can learn it too. I know you can. Another thing is that organizing is so overwhelming. It's a hopeless chore. I'll never get organized, so why try? And actually, I personally think there's a simple, predictable method to organizing. We're going to just give that to you tonight to help you out. Another myth is that even if you organize your schoolroom and get everything, all the clutter out, that you'll never be able to stay organized. It's just going to be a matter of time. It's going to be a big mess again. Well, the reason that happens, the reason that we fall back on our old habits is that the system we're using is not really built for our personality and the way that our house works. For instance, I have a bunch of homeschooling schoolroom pictures to show you guys tonight. And I think one common thread is that no house is the same. You can get ideas from other people, but if you try to, take a picture from one of these that we're going to show you and try to turn your schoolroom into exactly that, then you're going to quickly find out that doesn't work. And that's because no system will fit any one person. You have to find a system that's built for you. I'm going to give you some ideas for that tonight. And another common myth, the last one I'm going to do, is that we just don't have time to get organized. But I think you probably know that you don't have time not to get organized because as a homeschool mom, you have so many things on your plate that you can't get it all done unless you have a system for how to go about doing it. Or you just start to panic. That having a system to me means knowing there's like a checklist. That this is when you do this and this is when you do that. And that way I can just fall back on my system so I'm overwhelmed. A good week on the Illustrate side is this one. I'm way off of schedule doing these conference sessions and I'm having a ball, but my house is turning into a mess. Well, I was talking to one of my friends earlier today. She'd sent in a picture of her schoolroom and I said, well, listen, I don't have any pictures to show of mine from this year because it's a mess this week. Because I am off schedule. I'm off of my system. Now, it's going to get quickly back into because we have a routine in place. So let's talk about what the system, the strategy is that I use to try to get my life organized and to try to get a system in place. First, I should say that I did not make up this up on my own. It is not mine, and I want to give full credit to an author, and I should type her name down in the chat. Her name is Julie Morgenstern, and her book is Organizing from the Inside Out. You can still get it at a library. I found it on Kindle even. It's just a great book to have. I'm going to give you some ideas that I got from her because I've been using her since, I want to say about 1997 is the first, I hope that's right, maybe 98. We have to look at the copyright inside the book to see. It was fairly new. I got it at Barnes & Noble back then. And I brought it home and sat on my living room floor and went, oh, honey, this book fits my personality. And it's helped me a lot. So I'm going to be giving you some ideas that I got from her, but we're just going to give you very, very quick ones. And I really recommend that you get that book. It's a really helpful book. First of all, what are some things that cause problems in our house? Items that have no home. For example, we were just given a couple of really great study tools. a thick lexicon and a couple smaller books. And so altogether, it's probably 5 or 6 inches. And I didn't have very many bookshelves in my house. The house is pretty small. So I'm already thinking, oh no, where am I going to put them? I should be excited because they're really cool books. But if things don't have a place, they just start, well, first they're on my desk, and then they get shuffled over to the dining room table, then they get shuffled over to the floor, and then things get stuck on top of them, and then the next thing I know, I'm going to want to use the lexicon and not be able to find it. Items have to have a space. And in homeschooling, that is incredibly true. Every single thing that you do in a day needs to have a space. It also needs to be convenient. For instance, one year, my husband, who is good at organizing, or at least at making your house look pretty, he said, why don't you put all your schoolwork into these big file crates? They were plastic. And I want you to take them upstairs every night and have the kids put them under their bed. Well, by the time you get all your school books into one of those, they probably weigh 20 pounds. So guess who's supposed to put them all away every night? The big kids are me. And we eventually, that system just didn't work anymore because it was too heavy. It was not convenient. So we just started piling things at the end of the dining room table. Another problem is that you have more stuff than you have space for. That is one of my current problems because our house is small. Even if you have a large house, it may be that the area you're using for school, well, it's definitely a finite space. You can only put so much in. And I know the rule that when you get new stuff, you're supposed to send other stuff off to Goodwill, but it's hard to do with books. You still should, though, because there just comes a point that no matter what organizing tool you have, you are just literally out of space. Another one, and we have some families in this position, is that you're in transition. You're moving, you're remodeling your entire house. That's obviously going to happen, it's just going to be a mess for a while. Another one that is going to affect most of us is that you have uncooperative people who share the same space. And in homeschooling, that could be most likely be your children. They are not cooperating with your organizing methods. And I think back to being in school. I had a wonderful teacher in 3rd and 4th grade. Her name was Mrs. Edwards. And she was so good at taking the first few weeks of school and setting up routines. We even had routines as to how we handed in our papers every day. It had to go over your certain shoulder, and you had to reach over the shoulder to get it from the person behind you. And it sounds so silly, but because she had all of these routines in place, we just naturally fell into them, and it kept her room clean, and we could think about learning. And that's really important for you to make sure at the beginning of your school year, whenever that is, that you set up routines and that you don't neglect that really important training part. It's not history, it's not math, but it still has to be learned. Chores would be another good example, setting up. And then they're more cooperative. They have a part in it. Goodness, you could even get them in there to help you with the decluttering. They would probably appreciate it more later. You might have some mental obstacles. For instance, you're a visual person, so you want to have everything out in front of you so you can see it. Or maybe your mental problem is that you like to buy things. So you're constantly, you see new things and shiny objects, you buy them. That's going to affect more than your clutter. It's going to affect your bank account. Maybe on the opposite side, you just can't get rid of things because they hold emotional attachments to you. Or finally, you just love to display every last thing. And that's fine. If you are content with it, then what's the problem? But maybe if your spouse is bothered by it or your children are having trouble concentrating, then you might have to come up with some ways to overcome those obstacles. And then this last one is that sometimes it's just more fun to organize than it is to teach. And you just keep organizing and organizing and organizing and setting up these amazing schoolrooms. And you have like 3 days of school in them and you're back to the dining room table. I don't know if anyone else does that, but I have actually done that before. So we've been talking about all of the problems, the things that cause you problems. And now you need to get specific. You might want to take a pen and write this down. You need to analyze what is working about our school day if you've been a homeschooler before. If you're brand new, you might have to wait on this one. But what is working about this space? For instance, in my space right now, we're at a dining room table. Things that are working, we have some really great drawers underneath our bookshelves, and that is working. And I know it's working because it stays organized. Another thing I love is the fact that we are all together and we're right around the corner from my desk. Now, what are some things that are not working? Well, for me, I have nowhere to put my dry erase markers. When I'm writing on the whiteboard, I have to throw them on the floor or put them on the table, and our house is crooked and they roll. And And it just is really frustrating. So I need to do something. I need to make a list of all the things that are not working, and that would be one of my top ones. Another one that is not working for us is that my children have gotten big. And I still have the same table that you're going to see in some of the pictures from, 8 to 10 years ago. But my kids are 6 foot tall. My boys are. And we're really running out of space. So my husband is working on that one. He's working on making us a new table. And then what items in your room are the most essential? I would never give up my whiteboard. But because we're in the dining room and my husband wants it to look pretty, he has made this really cute little chalkboard. And I said, that's nice, honey, but it's not, I want my whiteboard. I want to write with my expo markers. And so he put 2 screws at the top and then a rope on the top of my whiteboard marker, or my whiteboard, my whiteboard. And I can hang it up on those screws during the school day. And then he made a spot around the corner in the stairwell where I can hang it when school is out of session. And then it's back to this pretty chalkboard. So we both win. That is something that is essential. I have to have my whiteboard. You know which things are essential for you. So you're basically on your list. You want to write down what is working, what is not working, and what items in this room are so essential to me that I can't live without them. I want to talk about that for a second. We've been talking a lot. I don't have as much scripture in this session, but I do have, I want to reference Deuteronomy 6, the Shema. And it says, Hear, O Israel, Yehovah your God, Yehovah is one. And you shall love Yehovah with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And these things which I command you this day are to be on your heart. Okay, we know all of this. And then it says, teach them to your children, and you shall talk to them all day long. And then it says to write them on your walls. And this is the part that I wanted to get to. When we write them on our walls, that's great until you run out of wall space. If anyone else had that problem? I have so many things I want to put on my wall. I want to put the verse of the week. I want to put the 10 Commandments. Absolutely. I have a lot of verses that I want them to remember. I've been going so far as to hanging them in the bathroom. Whole chapters in there. I figure they're captive audience and they can be brushing your teeth and seeing the scripture, and it's helping me too. That doesn't count our helping verbs and our being verbs. It doesn't count. I want them to have just a variety of subjects. We've got phonics. I've got a boy who's doing phonics, and so we have, your vowels and your consonants, and you're learning Hebrew. You've got to learn all your vowels and your consonants there. I am out of wall space, and we share the dining room with. We're starting a church, so people are coming in every weekend. We have a lot of company, and my husband's like, I don't want it to look like a classroom. So the thing is you have to decide what is essential, but maybe you're going to have to be creative in how you show it off. We'll see some ideas tonight. Okay, I want to show you something real quick. I'm going to share my screen at this point and start showing you some of the cool ideas I have. And hopefully you can see this. Okay, this is again from Julie Morgenstern, and her book again is Organizing from the Inside Out. And she uses the kindergarten model of organization, which is perfect for homeschoolers. Because basically what you're going to do is you're, number one, going to divide your room up into activity zones, like a kindergarten or a daycare would. And maybe you don't have that much space, so your activity zones would be small. But in this example, we have a reading corner, a dress-up corner, a building blocks, arts and crafts, snacks, and music. Now, this is not exact for a homeschool, but what are some of the activity zones that you need? Well, you're going to have to make a list of them. That's why we have this session after the scheduling one, because if we're a part of that one, you can get some ideas from there. What you want is your children to be able to focus on one activity at a time. Let's talk about handwriting, for instance. Studies have shown that if your child sits in the same location every day, facing the same direction, and their paper is in the same place, their handwriting and their mental ability, their right brain, their left brain, will be able to communicate a lot better. They need to be able to focus on one activity at a time. Now, we have 9 of us sharing our schoolroom every morning, because even my teenagers that are grown and out of school, they still have Torah with us. They still bring their laptops and works with Dad. Dad is right there. So that is a difficult area. But try as best you can to have zones in your room. Item number 3, items are stored at their point of use. This one was so liberating to me. This is one of those ones I was sitting on that floor, back in the late 90s and going, oh my word, that is so obvious. I don't need to have just one pair of scissors. I can have a pair of scissors at every place in the house that we use them. That was so liberating. It doesn't cost that much to get extra scissors. If each child needs a dry erase marker, then give them each one. Have the equipment so that you don't have to go halfway across the house to get something every time you need it. Make it fun to put things away. Everything is going to have a home. And then not only is everything going to have a home, but you should label things very clearly so that anyone could come in and put things away. And you know what? I love number 5. When you are organized, now you have a visual menu of what is important. If you were to walk into a kindergarten classroom, you would say that learning to read was important. If you were to walk into a Torah-keeping homeschool family's room, you would probably see things about the Torah on the walls, just as the Bible says, and you would know that that is important. And that is what you were trying to impress upon your kids. I think that is so cool. I wanted to mention that I'm going to talk about some supplies. You know what? I might do that right now, but then I can go ahead and see if I can. Okay. Hopefully you can also see me. I have a big Rubbermaid container with all kinds of supplies, and this fits in one of our drawers. I'll show you the drawer in a little bit with the pictures, but I'm going to just randomly pull things out and just show you some of the supplies that we have. This is my abacus. I got it. I think it still says I got it for $2.99. Maybe you can see that at a Goodwill, and I'm just so happy with that. We had to glue things in back one time because they all came off, but I use this all the time. Some other supplies that I think are really essential are teaching your kids to read. You need lots of letters, so we've got little magnetic letters. I saw in several of the pictures that families shared with us, they're using phonics curriculum that has letters so that kids can blend sounds together. A magnetic whiteboard is fantastic for those, and I totally agree. I think those are awesome. I also have Hebrew letters. The same idea. They're just in Hebrew, and they're magnetic, so it does the same thing. Let's see. I have lots of 3x5 cards. 3x5 cards are wonderful, not only for labeling things, but for everyday school. For instance, we've got our vocabulary lessons. Science has lots of vocabulary. So we store all of those in a container for 3x5 cards, and we can review very quickly. Oh, and another important one would be our Bible verses that we have learned over the last year, and we can review them. It's just easier. Again, store them at their point of use. Some of these stay with me. I have a bag that has my daily stuff. I was going to tell you I don't use the crate anymore. It's just a bag, and I can hang it on a hook in the closet when I'm done. And it has notebooks and binders. It has my lessons for every day. And some of those flashcards, these kinds of things end up in there. I also have my Hebrew flashcards. So a lot of you have these for teaching Hebrew. In the drawer where the kids can get to it, they have a bunch of books for kids. Then in the drawer, we have some Usborne things. Again, I kind of like Usborne. These are 100 things to spot in the night sky. That's handy on the weekends. They can go out on their own. 50 science things to make and do for when mom's too busy to go do something. They can use those to learn. Okay, got our reading books. Got all kinds of math manipulatives. We've got a clock. I love these clocks. They're wonderful for little kids. I'm going to be so sad when we don't have a little kid anymore. I have this. This I've had so ugly. It has little cups in it. These cups, I have had them since, I'm trying to think what year my son, how was that, 2001? I mean, they're squashed. They're just like little Dixie bathroom cups. And I don't want to get rid of them. They're kind of sentimental to me now. And inside of it, I have all kinds of buttons that, we can use those buttons for putting on a hundreds chart and all kinds of things in math drills. And we have, these are from Usborne. They're rapid things. What are they called? Wrap-ups? Sorry, I don't even know. And you can use them for multiplication, subtraction, division. This is another thing I've had from the very beginning when my son was homeschooling. They're just bundles of straws. And each one of them has 10 straws in it. So you can use place value. You can learn about that. You can illustrate it. And it really seems to help. I've had it for a long time, so I know it helps my kids. I got a bag of money and a bag of fan pieces so that I don't know if you guys can see that, so that it's really fun for the kids to invent their own games, because those games are a great way to learn. So anyway, having all the supplies, most of them go on my door, except for the things that we're reviewing currently. I also have, have other things too. I have cursive cards, I have adding and subtracting and multiplication and division, all those flashcards and stuff. Oh, I even have a puppet. That's fun. I like to use my puppet. So anyway, all of that is to be stored in a place, just like it said, in a place that you can use. Now, if your house is a mess right now, in Julie Morgan's book, she has some ideas for how to overcome the mess. You basically, and I've seen this on a lot of it, TV shows and YouTube. Basically, you make a pile. You got to sort through everything. And you got to make a pile of things that can keep, a pile of give away, and throw it away. The things that are in the keep pile, you need to organize by category, just as we were saying, so that they can be in that kindergarten method. And then get a container for them. This is the point where you go shopping. And you don't go shopping before this, you're going to spend all your money. So you get the containers after you know what needs to go in the containers, so that everything has a home and it actually fits. And then you need to maintain it every day, clean it up. Before you go on to another activity, make sure that people clean up. Now, this is a hard thing in my house. I have kids ranging from 21 down to 7. And it seems like the older kids, they get onto their independent schoolwork and they want to go over to the couch and do it up to their bedroom, and they didn't, necessarily clean up. Or the little kids, we go down to the floor and work on some reading things together down there. And, we never get back to the table. So it's a really important skill to make sure that we clean up before we go on. That really is the key to keeping a house clean, is to do it all the time. As you make the mess, you clean it up. You don't try to come back later and do this massive cleaning. You can. You should if you need to, but it's much better to teach our kids to clean up as they go. If the kids spill something in the kitchen, just leave it there. No, we clean it up right then before it gets all stepped on, right? So those are some important skills to teach our kids. Yeah, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and I'm going to share some of the pictures that, hold on one second. I'm just going to put it up. I'm going to share some of the pictures of our schoolroom through the years, and then start to show some of the pictures that you guys have. There it is. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. This was my 21-year-old now. This is when he was in kindergarten. Actually, I think this was first grade, because we're in Arizona here, and you can see the moving boxes in the background and the stuff piled in the corner. He's getting ready to move, and we were trying to do school at the same time, and we were around the dining room table. And I didn't take very many pictures of his first couple of years. I could just pick myself. School only took a few minutes a day. It really wasn't very long because he was so young, and then they sit on a lot of plane. But this was right after, if you've ever heard my story, he learned to read about a quarter of the way through his first grade year, and this was right after that. And looks like he's doing one of his Explode the Code books. Right? This was in our next house, the one we moved to after this, and this was my favorite and most cheerful house, as far as it was just so bright and sunny. And I don't have very many pictures of this either. But this is our technical schoolroom. In this house, I made a schoolroom. We had an extra bedroom, and I had all the books nice and neat on the shelves, and on the other walls, I had all kinds of learning things. And you know what? We never used the room. It was just so much more cheerful out at the dining room table, but that's where we went. And sometimes we used the couch too. It was just so much more comfortable. And but this is the house where we lived when we invented Together School, and because my preschool children were getting old enough that they could participate in Bible time and all the other things that we did. And this is where we wrote our first Bible. I just wish I had more pictures. Now, this one is a tiny little picture. I'm so sorry about that. And I wonder if I can zoom in. I bet you I can. It's awful pixelated if I do. This was our basement schoolroom. We had moved to Iowa, and it was an old farmhouse. And the only light in this room was that window in the back. But I loved having a schoolroom where I could put everything on the walls. That was always super important to me. One of the fun things I did at this place, I don't know if you can see this, a little chart hanging underneath the U.S. map. And this was just a big flip chart, and I had so many fun things on that flip chart. I almost think I would like to go back to having a flip chart, because if you don't have much wall space, you can put things on a flip chart, and and it has the two poles. You can hang it on the wall, and you can just get a lot done in that little flip chart. Now, sad to say, the problem in this room, there were two problems. The ceiling was really short, and it came to right above my head. So if I get up on my toes at all, and I'm kind of animated when I talk, I'd hit my head. And the second thing is it was cold, so we did not stay down this in this room all winter, and we ended up back at the dining room table. I think dining room tables take the cake for the most popular place to have homeschool, and it makes sense. I'm gonna head to the next house. No, I forgot. This was my husband was a pastor, and we didn't have a good place to have school. And I said, "There's a classroom upstairs, honey, that no one is using, and they don't have plans to use it because I turned it into a schoolroom." And he checked with the church elders, and they said that was fine. So we went up here, and this was our schoolroom up there, and I loved it. You can see those famous crates that I was talking about, those plastic filing crates. Only we got to leave them here. And this was the other side of the room, old lovely carpet. But we loved this room. We didn't stay here for very long because it was a pain, even though the school was, maybe a couple houses away from our house. It was a very, very short walk. We found it too disruptive. I had a newborn baby at this time, and it just didn't work because we needed to have a place where you could teach the little ones right along with the big ones. And I was devoting all my time to the big ones and taking the little guy downstairs to daddy in the church office. And that didn't go for very long. And that's what, you know what, the best place again was the dining room table because we found that we could all be together. Now after this, we came up with upstairs. My son was putting stuff in that crate I was telling you. This was at the home, same place where we lived. My husband was a pastor, but this was down in the basement, and I really loved this schoolroom. We used it quite a bit. Its only downside was that it could get chilly in the Minnesota winters. We had several space heaters, and that did help, and I tell my kids to wear socks. And we used this room quite a bit. And again, I loved it because we could put things on the walls. The walls were cinder block, but my husband came up with a system of hanging 2x4s down so we could attach things. So it's not pretty. We did have a curtain in front of these board games over here that we could pull shut. And then down on the floor, I don't know if you can see it very well, there are all of their little crates that my husband wanted them to put their school away and everything. And this worked really well. This is the same school table that I have today. I don't have a fancy dining room table at the moment. So this one really fit my kids at that age because my oldest one was just a young teenager. So it worked out well. Let me show you a couple more pictures. We found a dresser at a garage sale, and in that dresser we could put all kinds of supplies. That was a wonderful thing. Here we are doing school. Can't believe how little we are. Well, anyway, now this is our house today. Actually, this was last year, but I didn't take a picture of it today. This was the most recent one. This is where we live now. And there was that whiteboard I was telling you about that you can hang by a rope on two threads. And, when I take it down in the evening, it's got this cute chalkboard behind it. Over in the corner, whoops, back here. Oh dear, I'm not speaking. Over in the corner, we see the verse of the day. And that's the same one that you guys have for your Torah portions. And anyway, there they all are. We're missing one child, and we're missing my husband, and we're missing me. So you can see that one of my frustrations is it's just a little crowded. So the kids tend to go off to the living room. This is what it looked like. This is actually today. And there's just stuff everywhere, computers, and yeah. This is my three younger ones. Usually when the bigger ones are done, they sit at the end of the table and work together. And here they are. This is my bookshelf, and underneath are lots of drawers. I don't have a lot of bookshelves anymore, so I don't have a lot of books anymore. And so the space that we have, I am very, very attached to the few books I have. But down below in those drawers, let me go back. Not going to let me. Maybe it'll come up later. This is around the corner from that dining room, this is my desk where I do all of my writing for Homeschooling Torah. And it's just within earshot. Just to the left of this picture is the bathroom and the dining room table. So I can be involved in all kinds of things, even if my husband or one of the older kids is doing the teaching that day. And I got all my books. Here's the verse of the day again. In right here, now this is right by my desk as well and right by the dining room table, we have our organization section where we write up, our calendar. We have, let me show you a little bit more specific. This is a full picture, but it's the same. This, it shows what we're doing each day and we can all write on it. This is, because it's glass, we can write on it with a whiteboard marker and we can put our Sabbath prep jobs. This is our Friday list of what we need to do every Friday to get ready for Sabbath. This is the chores for the rest of the week. And again, because it's glass, I can just wipe it off and reuse it. And then we have our menu down in the bottom section. Okay, this is the drawer I was wanting to tell you. So all of those things I was showing you before, they all fit in there. And it's really handy. So putting things at the point of use has really been extremely helpful for me. Okay, now I'm on to showing some of the other schoolrooms. I just wanted to check the chat real quick and make sure that nobody had anything that they were going to say. Yeah. And I'm loading that. I haven't given you guys a chance to even ask questions or anything tonight. I'm really sorry. I don't think I can see the chat. So I think what I'm going to do is just keep going and then I'll check the chat in a little bit. I put these pictures in alphabetical order so that, I just randomly kind of chose who I would show first. This is Angela. And I love that each person has a defined place to sit. Again, it's really important to me that my kids are facing the same direction for each day when they're writing. I don't know how old her kids are, but I love, she's got the verse of the week hung up back there, and she's got the whiteboard, and everything is just so organized. It's just really great, Angela. This is Heather, and one of the things that I love about her room is the maps on the wall. I think everyone would agree. Maps are just amazing, and she has hung those up so well. But it's just her dining room. She's got the basics. She's got her whiteboard. She's got her bookshelf, and that's what we need. I just think she did a great job, but it can tell that this room gets used for a lot of things, like all of us, right? This is Jennifer, and she said, I'm not going to show you the inside of it, but because it's the middle of the summer and they're doing some work in there. But this is the outside of her little schoolroom, and I am curious to hear from her how, maybe she'll tell us in the chat room, how often she actually uses her schoolroom, because I loved having a schoolroom. I loved decorating it, but I found that I didn't use it as much. So I'm kind of curious, but it is awful cute. My husband saw that and said, man, you could do that. Oh, this one's great. This is Jenny. And I put up here, I clipped this from our Facebook page so I can remember what she said about it. But her kids are learning the Hebrew alphabet along with the English alphabet. And she has this adorable caterpillar. And she said they spent the whole last year concentrating on hear, learn, keep, do, which of course they like. And this was just great. Let's see. This was Crystal. Crystal, if I were going to guess, would say that she has older kids. They're using the computer a lot in your school. And isn't that the case? And it feels like the more time goes by, back when my son was little, we didn't really use the computer that much. And now I use the computer constantly, or my phone, or my Kindle. And this looks like that's exactly what they do. And I had so much fun trying to look at the books on her shelf to see what she uses. This is Melanie, and I think there are two pictures for Melanie. Could be wrong. Nope, there are two. So this is one side of Melanie's classroom, and again, I am so impressed at how people are putting verses on the wall. They're studying the Ten Commandments. She's got, they're learning how to obey. That's what that little sign up there says. Fantastic way to use the wall. Here she has her letter magnets that she sticks up on her magnetic board to teach someone to read. And around her clock, she's got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, so that the kids can learn to count by fives. That's fantastic. I wish I had thought of that one. Okay. This is Michelle. Michelle sent several pictures. This is a bedroom that's at the back of the house, and they converted it into their schoolroom so that they wouldn't have to see the mess. I think it's really cute. I love that it has a reading area, and you can see over here there's also an area to put all their supplies for crafts, I would say. And I love the reading area. I think that would be well used. That is so smart to put that right there. So again, you're putting everything at its point of use. She's got a closet where she stores a lot of her supplies. The great thing about using a bedroom. Again, they've got letter magnets up there on the whiteboard, and then it looks like an IKEA desk. I would guess on it. I don't know. Anyway, it's really nice with all of her books organized. She's got her abacus counting and testing. It looks like They've got some bags. Those look like scrapbooking bags that you can buy for scrapbooking. Lots and lots of pockets, and you can put things in them. And I'm going to guess that maybe that's where her kids put their everyday work. I could be wrong, but that'd be my guess. And okay, this is Peggy. Peggy made me laugh. She put in her description that the two bookshelves were the leaning twin towers of Pisa. And and I say, Peggy, you know what? You don't have as much space as some people, and you are trying to do your schoolwork where everything else is happening. It's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. I can tell that everything is where it's being used. And I would guess that she might have kids and things that she has to put things up high for too. So let them lean. Someday it'll be better, right? This is Sarah. Sarah's table looks like how my table looks almost every day. She's got all kinds of activities. I'm really glad she took the picture while there were things going on. And it just, you can imagine the discussions. That's why I like a dining room table, because you're in a circle and you're discussing, and you're close together, which is the whole point of this, and why I love homeschooling. Sarah sent a bunch of pictures, and this looks like they have a little cove, maybe off the back of their living room, and that they have turned into a school area. And she's obviously close to the dining room because she's got kitchen stuff on her shelves, but yet she's able to turn this into a school area. And I think it's fantastic. She's got the great map on the wall, and I love benches. My husband and I have said, you should do benches. They're just so much handier for kids. I noticed that in her thing, and there's her kids. And so there's a lot of kids that know they're going to get on video tonight. And but then we have another Sarah, and she has this tree she made in the background. It's so cute. It looks like she might have been a teacher at one time. You can take the little fruit off of the tree every day and put it in the basket, and that's how they keep track of their attendance. And I thought that was such a fun idea. Now, she said, oh, my husband noticed the straight trunk. Boy, I love that. That'd be great. So now she said there's no table in her room. They've been sitting on the floor doing things, or just going over to the couch because they're using their table for something else right now. But again, why not use the floor? That's a great, I don't know, you're not officially in school. You don't have to do school at home. This is home. So, again, she's organized. She's got all of her things in baskets and containers, like we've been saying. Now we have a couple people that are remodeling. So they were brave. So this house is being remodeled, and she said that this dining room over here, again, next to the kitchen, next to the living room, is where her school stuff normally fills that whole cupboard up, which is a great way to do it. But it is hard to do this in transition, and you guys are brave to send me pictures. Here's another family. Julia sent me this one, and they are remodeling too. And it looks like they, I don't know if they did or someone else, but someone painted the paneling, so it'd be a nice bright cheerful color, which is just awesome. And they put these great big panels, screwed right into the wall for her whiteboard. That's going to be awesome. You can see where this one's going. So there's no rush. All these people are sending things in August. So those are our schoolrooms that we had to share, and so much appreciate all of you guys sending in your pictures. So Jennifer was going to say, she had asked about, remember the red little schoolhouse that was outside? She says, we use our schoolroom about half and half. Lately we've used our living room as well, but our schoolroom is where all our toys, and art stuff are, because we have no room for that in the house. So we either bring stuff into the house if we need to stay in the house, or we go to the schoolroom. Yeah, I mean, and it's just the thing of being big families with a million activities that happen in one space and small space. And that is pretty much how everybody is. And so I'm sitting here talking about being organized, but frankly, we just need to be real. Our priority is teaching our kids, and our priority is teaching them to have good skills of cleaning up and having good character and being cheerful while they clean up and doing it before daddy gets home and so on. But those things don't, real life is where we teach. That's why Deuteronomy says it's while you sit and while you walk and while you go along the road, because we're not putting our kids into this isolated fake environment for 18 years and then pulling them out and expecting them to live a real life. We are living life right now. Your schoolroom is wherever you have school. And one year we stayed, I don't have a picture of this, but we stayed in the tent for 5 months, and we had, just camping chairs in a circle, and we did our schoolwork. But it doesn't matter where you are. It matters that you are teaching your kids as well. All right, so that was the end. Thanks for putting up with all my crazy pictures and all my technical problems. I very much appreciate all of you sharing because it made it. As you can see, my schoolrooms are not a very good example. You guys have done everything that I said, and this was so fun. So, if you have questions, if you're a new homeschooler and you're like, I just don't know what to even buy or where to start, feel free to use the contact form at the top of our website and send us an email, and we'd be happy to help. And you know what? I might share it on our Facebook group because our private group for our customers is fantastic. And we get a ton of ideas because they're just wise women that have been doing for a long time. And anyway, all right. So thank you so much for coming, and shalom.